I'm Piera.
And I'm Harlee.
And we're casually
mental.
What is that feeling?
It's that Italian summer, baby. If you guys can't tell, Piera and I are both tan and happy, and it's because we've both been in separate parts of Italy, but we've both been in Italy just being in the sunshine and eating carbs. And like honestly, if anybody needs like a good mental health day, I swear to God, just sit in the sun and eat pasta. Even if you're not in Italy, just sit in the sun and eat some good pasta and like, damn, your heart is full, your belly is full, and you are smooth sailing.
Wise words, that or pizza. Carbs, carb life. Carb life is for me. Yes, thank you. I'm happy to talk about today's topic, which kind of feeds into our inner happiness of having sun and carbs, which is a community requested topic, which is about imposter syndrome and how we can turn that into self-love and lovingly tell our imposter syndrome to shut the fuck up. So I know Harlee and we always talk about the episode before we go on of like things we want to talk about. And I'm curious, Harlee, if there's one specific instance or just like a general theme for you in and around imposter syndrome and like where you're at now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we both talked about this before we got on, but just how our past has kind of shaped our future. I think everybody's kind of grown up in a place where maybe you were bullied, maybe you grew up in a bad household. I really don't know anybody who's grown up without like some sort of childhood trauma. And if you have like, you haven't had childhood trauma, like please, I would love to know how you grew up. Like no joke, please come talk to us if you have not grown up with childhood trauma.
Please tell
I know
us.
Piera, I know, right? I know that you have had a different type of childhood trauma, whereas than me. So I think it's really just about like telling that past child of yourself exactly how you said, like, shut the fuck up and keep going. And I think for me, one of the things is I was really bullied growing up. And so a lot of the really awful things that people used to say about me really like kind of settled into my soul. And it took EMDR therapy, that I started when I was like 29 to finally realize that all of this like ickiness that people have put on me is really just their own vision of themselves. And I think that's one of the things is like EMDR almost kind of taps into the back of your brain, has you remember this moment and kind of then has you work through it in a way that really kind of helps you to reframe what that thought is. And so for me, like all of this shittiness of people treating me poorly really like settled in. And I thought I was an awful person, and it took a lot of self-work and EMDR to finally realize like, holy shit, I'm not a bad person. I'm just doing me. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not hurting anybody. And if anything, it's a reflection of someone's self when they're putting really bad judgment on you.
Exactly. I love that lesson and learning of it's not you. It's actually the other person.
Oh, yeah.
It's yeah. And I also was bullied in school, so we have that in common. Cool.
Yay. I also want to know if people weren't bullied in school.
Or if you were the bully, why would you be the bully? Why bully people? Don't bully people.
You know what I always wonder though is like, because we were getting bullied, but was there anyone else that felt bullied by us? You know what I mean? Like it's a fucking revolving circle. That's why you can't even you gotta do you. Because like, I don't even know. Like for all I know, like I felt bullied by a million people, but like I could have also done something to someone too. So like, I mean, that's the thing. At the end of the day, you gotta just shed all of that shit. Be a snake. No, don't be a snake. What else sheds? I mean,
no,
snakes
don't be
are cool.
Snake. You're a phoenix.
Shed your skin.
Rise from the ashes.
Shed your skin. That's what I'm trying to say. What else sheds? Be a cicada? I don't know.
Oh my God, no. You release attachment to others' perceptions of you. It's like practicing non-attachment. I love it. Yeah, now I'm gonna like look up after this recording what other things shed. I mean, no, you could be a butterfly. You could be a caterpillar into a butterfly. Is that better?
That's a million times better than everything I just said. Whatever.
Great.
But anyway, so Piera,
That's funny.
let's hear about your,
Yes, bullying.
yeah.
My childhood trauma. Let's talk about it. Yeah, I was bullied in school a bunch, and that was not fun. I do sometimes. I don't know if anybody else who's been bullied be like, "Huh, I wonder what happened to my bully." But that and then growing up, I feel like some of my friends, or most of my like close friends, know of my childhood upbringing of just living in a home of abuse is a mix of emotional, mental, and physical. I got the 3 bingo going straight across. It's not funny, but I will turn anything into humor. So I one specific thing comes up for me in relation to this topic because it stuck with me, and I didn't think at the time it was as big of a deal as it, I guess, was in impacting the way I move in the external world. I had EMDR, and we went through basically in EMDR you go through all these traumatic things and then you handle them one by one and you release them. So I shared this story with my EMDR therapist, and she's like, pause a sec. Your body kind of tensed up when you shared that story, even though I said it so casually, because your body is trying to make you survive and like overcome. And it was basically an instance where a family member kind of put a lot of self-doubt in who I am, and I had gotten into a really good school and I was really proud of myself, and they kind of just shut me down with the sentence of like, "Oh, your mom paid for that thing." And I was like, "Oh no, I'm dumb. I'm not smart. I couldn't get this thing done for myself." And I recently only told my mom because I processed it in EMDR. She was like, "What are you talking about? You got financial aid because you're smart." And also she was working 3 jobs. So like she could not afford to pay off whatever it was to get me into that class. So it could be helpful for anyone listening. Like family definitely is like a powerful piece of the imposter syndrome formula and reduction of self-love. It's really about like your atmosphere and what you surround and who you surround yourself with. So that's my story and history. A little
Oh my
bit
gosh.
around what has shaped my self-love relationship.
Oh yeah.
Fun
I mean, I'm
times.
Jewish, so growing up in a Jewish household, like, whoo, whenever you see like marry immediately, make yourself pretty. Like growing up Jewish, you have a lot of things being put on you. I mean, to be completely honest, even like being on a video podcast without makeup and like looking kind of like shitty, even like has taken me a minute to get to where I am today. Cause like at the end of the day, like some people might not find you pretty, other people will. Some people might not find you funny, other people will. Like you have to live with yourself, and the only person's opinion that matters of you is yourself. And if you can make yourself happy, like no one else's opinion matters because they're not living with you.
That's right.
As they, and you got to live in
No,
this body.
yeah, you do.
Like this body is your capsule that's being carried through time as well. So like don't disrespect it, you know? Like that's another whole thing. Like we forget that every single negative fact that's being put on us about ourselves, that's what you put out into the universe too. So like you like I can't say it enough as somebody who's experienced people just being really awful to me and having to overcome it is like I literally cannot say it enough, is that it is other people's reflections of themselves. It is that you need to like respect yourself, and that is it. Like love yourself, respect yourself, done.
Yes. I will also say people can be really brutal and mean and say things, but I promise you, nobody is checking in on you as much as you think. Like nobody actually cares in the full spectrum. Like, you could, like, please be cringe, let loose, like, be your full self, because you may get that one shitty human comment, but in the grand scheme of things, they're being probably an ass to somebody else like 2 minutes later. So, like, I think that that's another piece of it. I love what you shared, Harlee, of like, you're in this body for who knows how long. Love it, treat it well, nourish it. But also, like, again, nobody's checking in on you as much as maybe you think.
Yeah.
And I can attest this because I was recently at the airport and I was just like putting my deodorant on. I would never do that 5 years ago. I'd be like, oh my God, everyone's gonna be like, that girl's so weird. She's putting deodorant on. Nobody even batted an eye. I was literally just trying to get my suitcase, like looking around. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Everyone's like in their own little personal bubble.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's, and speaking of imposter syndrome, that's been really challenging for me, and it's something that I'm still trying to get over every day is, of course, as I already said, like 500 times, like I had a really low opinion of myself for so long. And more recently, and I think a lot of people think that I'm like this rich girl who's just like jutting off to Italy, but like, no, I quit my job. I started my own company and I worked my fucking ass off to be able to get clients and tell them all that I was leaving. And like, I busted my ass for like months. And now I can be here because I have busted my ass to be here. And I'm still working while I'm here. So it's like, I feel imposter syndrome because sometimes I look back and I'm like, am I supposed to be here? What am I doing? And it gets scary too because it's like, I mean, it all is. I mean, the day that I quit my job to do this, I definitely felt like I was kind of like jumping off a cliff into like nothingness. And you have to have like full confidence in yourself in order to know that you'll catch yourself in the end. And I think the irony about being in Italy is maybe like 10 months ago, I was in Naples, and everything went to shit. Like before I even left for the airport, I had like a mental breakdown because everything was already going to shit. Like I got laid off, I was getting another job, but like I had like kind of ended something with somebody I was seeing at the time. Like I had a full breakdown before I even got to the airport. Get to the airport, get there. My friends, all their flights got delayed because they were already in Europe. But so I was there by myself with like another person I barely knew. All of our Airbnbs got canceled on us. So we literally had nowhere to stay, nothing to do. Like it was, I literally thought I was gonna have to like sleep under a bridge at one point. Like no joke. And it was like crazy because like I physically had to get myself out of that situation. And like it was not gonna be anyone else. Like it was like one of those moments where you're like, bitch, get yourself together. Like, no one's getting you out of this except for you. And for some reason, in that moment, it like gave me this like self confidence that I just don't think I've had in a while. Cause like with that realization of like, cause it was kind of like a fight or flight moment. Like, if I didn't find places to stay, like, or like help find places to stay, like we would literally be sleeping under a bridge. Like no, like and everything was booked up that weekend. So there was like we were doing like hotel. Like it was the most insane experience ever. But I swear to God, if it wasn't for that and having like this main like roller coaster thing, I wouldn't have never realized that like life is a roller coaster and like you're gonna hit like really low lows, but from those really low lows, you like hit those highs too because you learn something from it. And I do think that if it wasn't for like in that moment, I was like, holy shit, I'm gonna reevaluate and realize like I trust myself because I've been getting through all these things. So all I can really do is just trust myself every single step of the way. And that I think is when imposter syndrome kind of kicks in because there are moments where I don't trust myself and like and there's no room
Mhm.
for that, especially when you're owning your own company. Like you got to be like, yes, I own this, I've been doing
Yeah.
this for 10 years. And I even have to give myself pep talks where it's like, you've been doing this for 10 years, you have worked with some of the best clients, you have worked with some of the best brands, people love your work, you still get recommended by people you worked with 10 years ago. Like you show up for yourself, don't ever doubt yourself.
Hell yeah. What I guess I love all of that. That's like, I feel like you were on the fast track to self growth.
I
Life was
mean,
like, here you go.
It really was though. Like when you have to figure, I mean, I cannot even explain how up and down it was, but I
Yeah.
don't think I would have traded that experience for the world, because even there was even a point where me and one of the girls I was traveling with, we got in like a really big fight, and I had never spoken my mind before. Like I think I always had a block about like telling people how I feel,
Mm,
because I also was so people pleasing. And this one moment, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to say
yeah.
exactly what's on my mind right now. And in that moment, she was like, why don't you just say that earlier? Like, if you had just come to me, like things would have been better. And I do think on that trip was like the
Communication.
moment. Yeah. Like, but I had no idea about communication either. So, like, in a weird way, like
Right.
that trip really was like my fast track to like trying to pull myself together, and even
It's
like
a
looking at
lesson.
like where I was 10 months ago to where it's not even a year. Like I have grown so much in the past 10 months. I think when you truly do invest in yourself, you can keep going. And it sounds so dumb to say. I'm I
No, it
can be
doesn't.
I can be a positive Polly and I can be a negative Nancy. Like it goes both ways. But if there's one thing I can tell you, it's just, and this is something that my partner always tells me too, is like, don't doubt yourself. And I think that's what I said on one of the other podcasts as well, is
Exactly.
just don't doubt yourself, because like, what, trust yourself. You're you,
Yeah.
your gut
Yeah.
is it knows. It fucking knows. And I don't even know how
Is
your
it
fucking gut
knows.
knows. It's crazy. But like listen to it.
It's one with the universe, Harlee. It's one with the universe. I
I
was
don't
gonna
know, but
ask you, um,
oh no, go ahead.
I was gonna ask what your tips are. What are your tips are for for overcoming imposter syndrome? Obviously, like hyping yourself up is something you do. Is there anything else that you do? And I know in one of our other episodes you shared one of your like written words of affirmation. Do you have any new ones since that episode?
Yeah, I would say it's it's a funny one, but I learned it when I was living in Sayulita for a minute, and there was this moment where like things had gotten like we were in this like thing called a temazcal, and it gets like so hot, and I like literally thought I was gonna die, but I was with my friend and her family, and I didn't want to ruin the
Mm,
experience, because if you leave, you ruin it for everybody, and like it's a very spiritual moment. So I was like, I'm just gonna get through it. And one of the
mm,
things that I like weirdly became my mantra, that whenever things are going bad or whatever, it's like something I always remember, which is just like, I am here. And it sounds so like, but like it's just very grounding
spiritual,
to
but yeah.
me to remember that like I have 2 feet on the ground. I am still here. I am still working my way up. So like no matter how bad some things get, like I am still here. And there, if you are still here and you're still grounded and you're still present, you can keep on moving forward. You just got to fight for it. What about you?
I love that. Yeah, I have a couple of things that I do. I don't have any written words of affirmation, but I do have a couple of mottos that have been really working for me. This it's funny too. I think in the past 10 months you and I have both grown like immensely, and I think a piece of quieting the imposter syndrome is looking back on your progress and acknowledging that even if you slip up or you give into imposter syndrome, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from where you fell off, and you can say, "Oh, I fell. That's okay. Let me look how far I've gotten." So that's been helpful. But my mottos are zero expectations. Phenomenal motto for me. Phenomenal. It's really been working out. I
Especially
highly
when you're
recommend everyone
dating.
to just
Especially when you're
especially
dating in
but it's been
LA.
great. LA girl worldwide.
I mean, ugh.
Analyze. Yeah. Zero expectations. And then the other one the other one I have is just it's similar to yours, where it's time is on my side is what I've been saying, because I think in a societal way there's always this rush to get to the next big thing, and oh, look at that person, they just got this achievement, and like this person's 30 under 30. And it's like, time is on my side. If it's meant to be and I'm working hard, it'll happen. And it's kind of like put me back in. I like to stay in my own lane. I'm not looking at what other people are doing. I'm complimenting and I'm like, everyone's hype woman for sure. But for myself, I want to make sure like I'm going at my own pace, because I feel a lot of the times I've gotten tripped up was when I was comparing myself to somebody else and trying to mimic what their life path was doing. Meanwhile, like, I should be focusing on myself. So I feel like that's been helpful to me. Something specifically because I've been traveling is, I don't know, this might be a weird thing that I do, but I like to I physically need to like quiet the noise around me. And for some reason, the bathroom is my safe space, and I always need like a blow dryer, and I put it on maximum so you can't hear anything. And I just like sit on the floor and I'm just like, and like I connect to myself, and like, I don't know, it's a very weird thing. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud and people are gonna hear
I
this,
love
but
it.
like that's something I do, and it like helps me. It helps me like quiet the noise in my head.
I mean, I
No,
get
no.
it. I'm a music person. So like if ever I
Yeah,
need to
same.
pump myself up, I like need to find like Zen peace or whatever. Like I have a soundtrack for literally everything. Like when I want to break stuff, like I got that under lock. Like
Yeah.
if I want to like chill, like whatever vibe, I have that. I even have a playlist that's called You Got
What's
This.
your hype up song?
Oh my gosh. Well, so I have a playlist called You
What's on
Got
that?
This that I made like God when I first moved to LA years ago. And it just has like all these like self-empowering songs that because I remember I think I got like oh my God, I remember I was having like a really rough time when I first moved to LA like 10 years ago. And so I made this playlist and I still listen to it to this day. But the main one that I feel like is always like, yes, is Desiree, You Gotta Be.
That's mine. That's
Oh
mine
my God, no way.
too.
I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
that. Well, then there you go,
I just
folks.
listened to it. I just
That's
listened to it before
hilarious.
we recorded this because I was like, yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta be bold. You
You
gotta
gotta
be
be cool.
wise. It's so funny because we're both trying to sing it, and both of us are probably completely off on the lyrics, even though it's our public song. But like, it has everything you gotta be in it. And you know what's also funny is that there's another
What?
one that is so dumb, and I'm gonna like hate that I'm even saying this out loud because I like to pretend like I'm like way cooler than this. But my friend was going through a really hard time, and I just kept on telling him to like keep his head up. And then I played him like the you
Yeah.
gotta keep your head up, oh, so you can let your hair down. Hey, I don't even know who sings it. I maybe someone else does,
I don't
but
know.
like it's like such a poppy like top 40 song from like God, like probably 10 years ago, but it's like it's just all about good vibes and keeping your head up. You don't know that song?
Listen, we need that. I know it. I have no idea who sings it.
You
I've
gotta
heard it
keep
on the
your
radio,
head
and
up.
I feel like
Oh.
I change it when it comes on. Sorry.
Whatever. Do you have any other ones?
It's fine. Other songs? I have so many. There's this remix, I think it was a Vine of this woman, Get Dirty. It's called Get Up, Get Out. It's like a remix or some, I don't know. We'll post it on social probably. But it's like you are the motherfucking greatest. Da-da-da. And it's like it's this techno beat. I'm not doing it justice whatsoever. But it's really good. And also anything by the Spice Girls. Like the song Who Do You Think You Are? I'm like jam into that all the time. So
I love it. I
so
love it.
I've thoroughly embarrassed myself in this episode, and I'm gonna really quiet my ego with this one. Watching it back.
No. Remember, self-love, Piera, self-love. We are loving ourselves on
No.
this episode today. We just spent this is what
That's
this
right.
is what
That's
I
right.
keep on telling myself too is like It's and you know the first few days, even being in Italy, I was like, is this stupid? Should I not be here? Like I was having all these feelings about it, and I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Like shit comes and goes, the waves flow up and down. You gotta just like I think I telling you this about how one day I was at the LA River before I left, and there was like this duck. Did I already? I don't even remember if I already said it on the podcast or not. But like okay, great. Clearly, I like have been telling everyone about this fucking duck I saw in an LA River. But anyways, so there's this duck that was just like,
Except me. Go ahead.
oh, I haven't. Okay, well, anyways, so there's this duck, and it was just floating down the stream and just going with it, right? And then there was this other duck that was kind of trying to go upstream and like swim against the current. And I was like, damn, like the duck that's just flowing down the stream, like he's chill as fuck. Like he's just coasting, like enjoying his life. He's minding his own business and staying in his lane. And you know what? He looked fucking fantastic. And I was like, I'm going to be the duck now. I'm going to mind my own business. I'm going to stay in my own lane. And I'm just going to get shit done and make myself happy. And hopefully, everybody that I'm surrounding myself with make like cares about putting themselves first too and making themselves happy before like anything else, because I want to be around people who are positive, independent, and care about bettering themselves.
Yeah, be a duck, everybody. Be a duck.
And on that note,
and I guess yeah, on that note, I did want to share one last thing. I feel like as we're talking, more things come up, and I'm like, we gotta wrap this up, girl. The last thing I do every single day that's been really, really beneficial in quieting my imposter syndrome and cultivating that self-love with myself is I do 5 daily gratitudes every single day. Every single day. It could be the simplest thing, it could be very specific, it could be something you're happy didn't happen, and it's really made a difference and an impact on how I wake up in the morning and how I see myself in the mirror. So I will leave you all with that.
yeah, I mean, my therapist keeps on telling me to do that, and I keep on forgetting to do it. But I need to do that too, because I've heard that it works really well if you like wake up and you say like 5 things that you're thankful for or whatever. And I heard that it's really good to get yourself into the mindset to just have like a more positive day.
It does, and I do it, and I do maybe like 3 before I go to sleep. So when you wake up the next morning, you you embody that. You want to be accountability buddies? I'll be like, Harlee, what are you grateful for?
Ooh, okay.
I'll text you. I'll do it. Okay.
Yay. Let's do it.
Yay. Well, I'm grateful that your internet has worked for this take of the episode.
Me too. Be a duck, everybody.
For the internet gods. Be a duck.
You gotta be bold. You gotta be wise. Cool.